seawater? Look at this, dude. This is the most disgusting car I've ever touched. We got some stuff figured out with the steering column, and the steering column pieces showed up, so that's cool. Here is the column itself. Super slick Woodward collapsible safety column that I've used on all my cars. It's the best. This is going to connect to the actual steering rack because the column will sit in the car like this. Boom. But we need to figure out how to get from here, so cool, through the firewall and to the steering rack. And normally I do like a firewall bearing from Woodward, but the stock one is so nice and it's sealed and it actually goes directly to the steering rack. It's like, it's kind of perfect, and it gets it completely centered with the seat as well. So what we're doing is we have the column, it mounts in the car like this to the roll cage, and the steering rack is on the other side of that firewall, right through there. Steering rack right through there. So what we decided to do is utilize some stock components. We're gonna utilize that firewall bearing there instead of an aftermarket one because it's sealed and rubber and very nice. This goes through that firewall bearing. Steering rack, this goes on the end of the steering rack, and this goes through the firewall bearing. Boom, just like that, through the firewall bearing. But we need to make sure, we need to get it to connect to the column. So that goes in there, and we need to connect this. So I ordered some material from McMaster Car, put it up in the lathe. This piece slides into the back of that. That'll be welded to this. This will be welded to that. And it makes it so that you can remove the steering column out of the car and it doesn't go all the way to the steering rack. So all the stuff can be taken apart in pieces. So I have a little bit more cleanup to do. I was getting close, but I wanted to show you guys. So I'm gonna take this over to the lathe and do just a couple more cleanup pieces, and it'll be ready to put together and weld. Just putting a bevel on it because it looks cooler, that's for sure. Yeah, this will go inside here. Boom. Sick, sick. This is even better than how we did the C6, but still utilizing a factory joint and factory pieces here. The factory joint slides on and off the rack so good. It's incredibly just smooth and buttery, and it's gonna last forever. This is gonna slide inside of here, and I just need to weld it up in the groove once this is fully collapsed, and it'll be good to go. So kind of at the point where we need to weld it now and fit it up. Nice. All right, I think it's ready to go. Ready to weld. Look at this guy getting the nitrous situated, the position. Look at that, dude. It's a straight cup. I like it a lot.
2 bolts here.
Yeah, and then we could probably do 2 in the corners.
Yeah, there's like the pockets here, so I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh, cause yeah.
I think I can do it right here.
They need to be more in the middle, huh?
Yeah, probably.
So we're gonna nut and bolt this. We're gonna build this thing. I don't know if we're gonna build it out of steel or aluminum, probably aluminum, and then bolt it to the cross member. And you can see down here, it have to be nut and bolted like through the top right here, nut and bolt. And then, yeah, maybe right in the middle, nut and bolt. I don't know, we gotta check and see. We kind of need to put the bottle in and see if it would touch that part, like in the middle here. Because that's where it
would work good, but
that's where the bottle would probably touch.
Want it to be tight enough.
Or we make it a little bit wider here, like this has a flat strap and then it goes right here, nut and bolt.
That's what I was thinking, maybe go outside.
Yeah, go right outside. But one in the middle would be perfect. Dude, that looks great. And then the nitrous bottle, the upper bottle mount, cool billet thing that I found on Summit. What brand is this? Nitrous Alec. Looks nice. It's gonna go right here and hold the bottle. Dude, that's sick. Nice job. That's a very good template. Gonna jump around a little bit because we're waiting for argon for the TIG welder. And I wanted to show you guys how we're mounting the pedals. I always do floor mounts in the Corvette just because the floor is nice and flat. And in some of the other cars, if you guys are following along, I basically just bolt them to the floor. Then on the underside of the chassis, I weld in a steel box tube thing with some nuts in it, and that basically captures the pedals, right? The pedals bolt through the floor. The C6 floors are real thick. The C8 floors are not. They are very thin, and they say it's some sort of carbon fiber composite. So it's literally, look at that, one tiny layer, a couple millimeters thick, 3 or 4 millimeters thick. So couldn't really bolt the pedals through there. Plus, I don't really have the ability to weld something on the bottom of the floor. So this is what we came up with. The pedals bolt to this big, thick piece of aluminum. And we have these really cool threaded sleeves in there, which I'll show you in a second. But this piece goes right in here and will get welded to the chassis here, here, and here. Chassis is aluminum. This floor piece is very thick aluminum to try to avoid some flexing. And that's it. Pedals are mounted. So what we ended up doing is putting the pedals as far forward as possible, but you're still able to get a master cylinder out. So you can see here, even with the banjo bolt on the back of it, you will be able to slide the master cylinder out and remove it without removing the pedals, because that's always key. You don't want to be able to change a clutch master cylinder, or your brake master starts leaking, you don't want to have to pull the whole pedals out. Not that it's hard, but it's easier definitely just to do that than pull it out. So this will get welded, and I will show you the cool insert pieces that we did. Key locking thread inserts. Drill a hole, you run a tap through it that has the outside diameter of these, and then you thread this in with, kind of hold on to these and you thread it into the material. It gives you a punch that basically you hammer down, and it'll drive these pins into the thread insert. Super strong. A totally different deal than a rib nut. It's basically like a thread insert, but with these locking pins. And it works out perfect because it's basically the same thickness of the material that we use for it. Gonna use short bolts. All worked out. Boom, look at that. Normally I would go over to my buddy's shop and use his Bridgeport for this, but I think I'm just gonna do it old school. Drill, jigsaw, file, just get it done so I don't have to go over there and spend half the day over there at his shop. Just gonna do it. So let's see what it's gonna look like. You can see the thread inserts here with the pins all pushed down. Super cool. They do protrude out the back just a little bit, but it's not gonna be a problem because this sits just off of the floor anyways, because there's a flange around it. So it's gonna be pretty much as low as you can get it. Now to just go map out where we're gonna drill some holes, cut some slots, and lighten this thing up. All right, I got all the holes punched in all the corners here. Then I chose a 1/2-inch drill bit, so it'll give me like a 1/2-inch kind of radius looking circle thing. Did a little test hit right there. I like the radius, I think it'll work out. So I was using the nut to kind of like just give me a guide, because it's a 1/2-inch diameter on that flange, just so I could see. But yeah, drill some holes. Okay, you can kind of see how this is gonna work here. Hole, hole, gonna connect the two, hole, connect the holes, connect the holes. So I gotta drill out all the corners, then I will connect them with the jigsaw. So I'll be drilling. Making a mess. So now I'm going to get rid of the old Sharpie marks, because we're gonna have to just connect the actual corners. You know, the holes get pushed off just a little bit. Jigsaw with a fresh blade on it. Gonna go to town. It's pretty thick material. I don't know if I've cut material this thick with the jigsaw before, but we'll see what happens. Damn it! That took a while, but it's done. Holes, fancied, cool. Now a bunch of filing. and cleaning up the edges.
That's what's
Another time-consuming thing, but it's got to be done. File all the edges, the corners, the flats, all that. Let's see what this guy's up to. That looks pretty good, dude.
kind of getting there.
Pretty good. Yeah, you can probably get it a little bit closer, but then it's just going to be tack it and work it. That's kind of the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as the length is right, you know?
Right.
Thing's beef. Perfect. I've been sweating a sweat on the inside of my heat wave safeties, but we're pretty much there. Holes cut, shapes are made. Just gotta clean it, DA it, and I think it'll be ready to weld in. There it is. Not too freaking bad. Boom. And that's it. It's in. Weld, weld, weld. Hell yeah. Look at that, dude.
Wow.
Your boy still got it.
Nice.
Not so bad. Whoa, 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 whoa. Now that the nitrous bottle holder is all welded up, gonna weld up the steering column. Put this in here, I'll weld that, and I'll weld it to the column. Weld. Steering shafted. All right. Okay, got some stuff completed. Alec is just doing the finish sanding, DAing on the nitrous bottle mount. Steering column is done. Goes through here. Through the OEM firewall bearing. That'll slide right on. Bada bing, bada boom. Steering column, U-joint, me. That is awesome. Could not be more simple. The only thing that we had to do is figure out the length of the sleeve, because the longer that sleeve is, the more it moves the steering column this direction. So we really wanted to put the seat in, kind of see where it's square. I shifted the seat to that way a little bit so I can have a little bit more room for the handbrake and whatnot right here. And then we just basically got the steering column lined up to the seat, and that's where it goes. And then once you have the steering column lined up, that's where we mounted the pedals to be dead nuts center with the steering column. I guess now I'll drag the welder over here and weld this sucker in, because Alec got this all cleaned up and pedals will be mounted. Look at that, dude. Nice freaking job. Let's see. I hope it holds it. Oh God, scary. All right.
Nice.
Here, put this on. Yep.
So you go like that.
Yeah, and it'll be like right in the middle. Nice. That is sick.
Works perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, we just got to figure spacer, upright tab, you know, whatever we want. That is freaking sweet. All right, weld time. Gonna start with welding here. I have my level that I leveled to the chassis, and then I'll tack weld it and kind of twist it around and get it in a spot, but yeah, that thing looks sick in there. Apply pressure to the outside, like, of this plate here. Yeah, exactly, right there. Yep. Okay, go ahead. Weld it into the chassis, dude. Look at that thing. That was very hard. Hard to do. Hard to get comfortable. Welds don't look great. Obviously dirty too. Glue's popping out at me and grinding it, brushing it with my brush and going back and forth. But I think overall it does the job. I guess it doesn't look too terrible. Not great. Maybe I clean it with the wire wheel and maybe go over it again with a little bit more comfort, but it's in there. I think it looks absolutely race car as hell, especially from doing it by hand. Pretty freaking cool. Yeah. All right, time to clean up the welder.